And he's here. Joining us are Green Bay, Wisconsin Mayor Jim Schmidt and Jon Ward from the Daily Caller. Welcome, John. Mayor, I want to stay with you for a second here. You got some stimulus money. You bought a couple of buses, a couple of jobs created, but you're not real thrilled with doing business that way. Is that right?
No, that wasn't our intent of the program at all. Our understanding was that the federal government was going to partner with us on projects to really create jobs, especially blue-collar jobs in the private sector, to help stimulate the economy here in Green Bay. And while we're doing very well, we could have used some help on some projects, and instead what we received were things that really weren't on our priority list. And while we're grateful for the buses we received, that just wasn't something that was our intent with the stimulus program.
Well, Mayor, were you told what to spend the money on?
Well, we were asked, and I'm quite involved in the U.S. Conference of Mayors and had been in the White House and met with the president and from his staff and even with our governor to have shovel-ready projects. And to us, again, this is a year and a half ago, shovel-ready to us meant ready to go in 90 days, completed in 3 years, that would create private sector jobs. And we worked very hard to compile a list that would meet those goals. And be it in the bureaucracy or what happened, but it just didn't work out the way that our expectations were here in the city of Green Bay.
All right, let's turn it over to John. John, I pulled up a story the other day. It was from the Daily Caller. $1.45 billion in stimulus money was sent to a solar plant, and they did say that they created 85 jobs. So I did the math on it. That looks like around $17 million per job. What's going on?
Well, what you have, Eric, I think, is just a spending program that's driven by the philosophical underpinnings of the Obama administration. I think when you look at the question of what is stimulus, you have two different answers from Democrats and Republicans generally. Republicans would like there to be more tax cuts and more to encourage business to spend and expand. Obama and his administration largely believe, while they did do about a third of the stimulus and tax cuts, they believe in a lot of government spending and top-down sort of government-directed stimulus, which results in the sort of thing that we see in a lot of these green job projects.
Well, John, how do they get away with it? This is absolutely outrageous. You should be outraged if you're watching this right now. $1.5 billion for a solar plant that created 85 jobs. I mean, there must be someone overseeing this, is there not?
Well, actually, President Obama tasked Vice President Biden with overseeing stimulus. That, however, was largely to make sure that money was not spent fraudulently or wastefully, although you could make the argument that this sort of money to jobs ratio is waste. I think the way that the administration looks at it, and they're paying a political price for this right now, the way they look at it, though, is that it's a long-term investment, but people want jobs right now.
Mayor, what about you? Are you paying a political price, sir? It looks like you stood up and you said you thought that the $700 billion was going to be paid for years and years and generations. And it looked like there's some backlash.
A couple things, Eric. One is that I don't think people really understand how much money $700 billion is. You know, I worked for a company, and our goal was $1 billion in sales, and we worked 7 days a week to achieve that. I think the distribution of this project was poorly handled. You know, from a manufacturing background, sometimes distribution is equally as important as the product. And we had a product here of money, and it got so tied up in bureaucracy, be it at the state or federal level, that it didn't find its way to the local communities. And quite honestly, I think if the president would have put a mayor in charge, I think that would have got the money where it would have needed to be to create the jobs. So I'm disappointed. It was a lot of money that's going to cost us a lot of time to pay back, but I think there has been some good out of it that I'm hearing, but we just didn't receive what we really thought we were going to in terms of economic stimulus here.
All right, John, what about this? We pulled up some numbers, $300 million to buy green cars for federal employees, researchers at the State University of New York, Buffalo, $389,000 to pay 100 people $45 each to record how much malt liquor they drink. I mean, it goes on and on. I have pages of ridiculous spending on stimulus. It's got to stop. By the way, the mayor mentioned $700 billion. That price tag is now up to $862 billion for the stimulus program. Is it working?
That's right. Is it working? Is that what you're asking?
Yep.
I think the argument is hard to make that it's working. I think especially since they did say that unemployment would stay, I think, below 8%, and it's now stayed above 9 and close to 10 for a long time. Obviously, I think that things would be worse if not for some of this spending, because they've kept a lot of state employees from being laid off. But states are now, up against the wall even for those jobs, and it's going to be hard to keep a lot of those employees. So it's a hard argument.
Mayor, is it working for you? I think some of the money was actually spent keeping teachers in place. Is that right, sir?
Yeah, look, I think they deviated from their goals. If they would have said to communities, look, give us a list of projects that are going to create jobs that are going to be done in 3 years, and if you don't do them, we're going to ask for the money back. That's a program, but they deviated from the goals, and they went outside the parameters of creating jobs, and it got too political and too bureaucratic, and so I don't know, is it working? It sure as heck could have worked a lot better.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there, guys. Thank you very much, Mayor Jim Schmidt and Jon Ward. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks for having us.
All right, when we